Hi everyone! After reading this week's blog about the nonfiction, biography, short stories, poetry and drama, also model genre, I think each genre has its own value for the literacy activities. And I would like to talk about the biography first. As the textbooks say, the young adults tend to enjoy reading about the individuals who had overcome hardships and struggles in their lives. I think the charming point about the biography is actually this point. We kind of learn from the whole story about some people and we will reflect to our life experience. I think the literacy promoting activities I would love students to think about choose an event and then think about what kind of choice they could actually have at that time, and then if they alternative the choices, what will happen as a result. So they can doing this activity like a web. So they write down the topic in the middle and then start to think about what kind of choice they can have and then what's the result in the end. So by thinking of this way, so you can student can solve their problems or think again about their problems or any struggles in life. Or sometimes it could just be a really successful story to encourage all the students to move forward to their life and be more positive. Okay, so the fun things I read from the textbook is about it says the traditional biography and has two kind of. I read about two kinds of literacy. I think it's really fun. It's called costume and dinner party. So the student need to be really learn about the person in a really detailed way, and then they will dress up. So for the costume, it's much more simple. It's like a student will develop a set of questions, and they will be in front, and then hosting a Q&A. So other group can just think about what kind of person is that. So they can identify the characters. At the dinner party, I think it's much more fun because after you read about the individuals, you probably will predict what kind of manner the person will use to talk to people or to have the dinner, and also what kind of things the person will wear to the dinner. I think it's great. And so the next I will talk about nonfiction. There's something I feel like really, for me, that's new from the textbook. It's called information literacy, and it says it's really helping the adolescents to develop some skills. So I think the nonfiction, it's kind of letting students to have the skills of sorry. So first talk about the information literacy. So the information literacy, the textbooks say it's really works well in math and science subjects, but I think it also works really well in music. Okay. I think the value of the nonfiction is the training of observation skills, also the analyzing skills, and then train the student to think logically, and also maybe training them to think to have a positive or responsible attitude toward life. It's just like the textbook say, the relationship between the past events and the realistic of the present. I think it's kind of stimulate students to think about their future or their past and also what kind of choice in their life and what kind of choice they should go for, and what's the result. So it's kind of really good reflection too. Okay, so the last one I'm going to talk is about the poetry and drama and short story. For me, it's kind of combining together because drama is composed by a lot of little short stories, and poetry is, for me, I have a lot of like a musical experience or opera or ostinato, and I think a lot of them combine the poetry just in the short part. So, according to the textbook, according to the Georgia Hart, it says that poetry is about the recognizing and paying attention to our inner lives. It's like our memories, hopes, doubts, questions, fears, and joys. I think it's true because poetry is kind of hard to understand for me in the beginning. So I usually need to read like twice or three times. Then I will totally get the get that level to understand what the author wants or describe, and then I will also have a picture in my mind to just to make a connection. I think poetry can give you more like imagination in the mind, maybe. So the literature activity, promoting activity, I think it would be combining with music or performing. Like they can have a short activity about performing the poetry on the stage. And another one I saw it from the textbook is called Self Words from Poem. I think self word from poem is really important because sometimes they use the really hard word to write a poem, and it could be an activity to student to recreate as a conversation or to write as a short play or short poem. Sorry, not poem, short poem. So I think it's a really good activity for the poetry. So for the drama, I think it can be used like alternative ending. So a student can meet their perspective to choose the result they want, but then they still need to use a skill that they learned from the nonfiction, like what kind of events and what kind of choice they could have and what kind of results so they can write it. And also maybe they can write part of it as short stories. And the last one I can think about the promoting literacy activity as being the director. They can rewrite some parts to meet their perspective, and then being a small group playing like acting out as role playing or just a short play. So the book I choose is from, sorry about that. This book is called here. Oh, sorry. It's called Still Like an Artist. I'm really sorry about that. So, how will you see the cover again? This one, Still Like an Artist, the black one. So I think there's something like the author really encouraged the students to involve in school, like school yourself. And then it's really short, so I think it's not gonna bother some students. It would be really good. Sorry, let me just turn off. And here, each chapter is short and it has a little bit like a short quote in the end. So I think student can think like more, can link to their more deep thinking. And also there's something I feel fun. Each chapter can have their own like illustrator, and I think it's really inspiring me. Okay, let me see. Oh, this one I think is fun. The illustration is built by only one word, so I think it could be an activity too. Could be an activity that student can choose a word and make this kind of link and write a short like a biography or short stories about it. So it's gymnastic and dad, mom, and you, and then it just have some decoration on the body. And this one is really fun. It's a really short one. So the whole book is telling you like how to be creatively presenting everything, like yourself or your art or music, something. So you can, as you can see here, it say how many lines are there. But then it also says there's a first line, second line, but then there's a line of negative space that runs between them. So the result is 1 and 1 equals to 3. That's really funny for me. I can show you the lines here. So as you can see, here's a negative space. So it creates like 3 lines. I really like this book. And this is about climb your own family tree. And it has, I think this is a good one to link to your culture. It doesn't really need to be family if the student didn't have like family. It could be for another topic, like link to culture, or link to yourself, like the social environment, or yeah, school life or something. Okay. So I think this book is about biography and also autobiography, because it's always called a little quote. It's always has a little quote in the end of each, like a short story, like this. Okay. So another one I would talk about is the secret life of great composers. So you can see it's this one. So in the book, it has small bio of each musician. I think it's great to let each group has like a different musicians with a bio, and then they can start to search a story around. It doesn't matter what's a resource, and then they can act out a composer or musician as a group. And so by presenting this, I think the whole class can learn a lot of musicians, and then we can go back to this kind of information literacy. So it has a lot of like facts inside, but then if you act out and you search a story and act out with a small bio, then it's really easier to remember all of them. And each picture has its own fun story. So I will start with the bio and the fun story, like the picture here. And then we will be back to the whole things of the musicians. And then this one, it's called Cats. It's actually based on the musical Cats. In the musical Cats, it's drama type, but this book is about it's poetry. So each poem is a character and personality of each cat. So in the each cat, and then for the drama part, it kind of like acting a lot of event that when a lot of personality being together, what will